Dear friends, hello. We're here at this amazing palace inside the center, one of the most beautiful Renaissance palaces of Rome. And we're going to have an interview with a very, very special person, Giuseppe TEDESCHI, Maestro Giuseppe TEDESCHI, the portrait painter of the Vatican, a diplomat, the adept to the antechamber of the Pope, and a very, very cultural man. And we're going to have this special interview inside this amazing, amazing cortile of Palazzo della Cancelleria. Hello, Giuseppe.
Thank you, welcome, and a big hug to all the people who can hear this conversation with you. Very nice and cultured speaker of this prestigious link and journal. Thank you for your attention and for the attention of all the people who can hear notice about this reality, very little and in the same time very big.
Tell us, Giuseppe, what is your special relationship with this building?
It's a good question, because I should have the possibility to organize this nice conversation in a lot of wonderful places, in Vatican, the gardens, the basilica, or other. But in this particular palace, I performed with an important cultural and painting movement. The Metaformismo in action is an abstract. It's very strange because I am a classical portraitor, but this is a movement who promote the abstract painting, and I had the pleasure to perform two my paintings in this palace in an exhibition of this movement in
2016, right?
2016 in this palace, and was a real success, because this movement is preparing a lot of exhibitions. Now, one example, we received an invitation from Croatia in Rijeka for as we are full of difficulty in this period, no coronavirus, but we received an invitation, very important, in Rijeka, the city of the culture of the present year, 2020. A particular here. Well, and this movement as an history, it is an important movement, because the president of this foundation, Metaformismo, is Professoressa Giulia Sillato, one of the most important critical and historical of arts in Italy.
Oh, how interesting.
And we hope to be invited also in USA, and especially in USA, because the abstract painting, the modern art in USA are the first location for an artist.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes. And we hope to arrive in New York to the MoMA, and we probably stay in Venice at the Biennale in the next exhibition. And this is the end of the conversation, because the beginning.
We started with an end.
we are starting in the with the end of the conversation, but the present is important. I am a person full immersion in the past, but I sustain the future, because to be part of a big history, to be part, for example, of the pontifical family, of the painting cultural tradition of Roma, painting culture of Italian school of portraiting, part of the most ancient diplomacy in the world. I am not diplomat, yes, but I am someone who have an office in Vatican to receive the ambassador, the president. I met all the American presidents, for example.
Actually, that was one of my questions. Have probably met many American presidents.
The
And
president from
which was the president that impressed you most?
all the president. I want to make a reflection.
A reflection.
In English, is all the president, like only every pope or every leader, is the leader in that moment. We cannot have in the ceremonial or in diplomacy sympathy or not. We can receive with respect all the representative of a nation in that moment, because it's the heart, or the democratic, or not, but is the heart of the history of that nation.
That's true.
And then I met all the president. You consider that I was in my charge in 1986.
1996. You have worked for the Vatican.
In the ceremony officially with the nomination by John Paul II.
How did you get noticed and nominated by the Pope, St. John II?
It's part of the history. This is the Roman tradition. Obvious, you must or you can have tradition family. I have ancestor in the old Corte Pontificia. You remember surely that the Pope Paul VI, now Saint Paul VI, changed all the organization of the pontifical court in family and then pontifical family. And then all the organization before was deleted, or better, involved in other organization. And now, for example, we say in Italian Cavalieri di Spade e Cappa, or Knight of Sword and Mantle, or Bussolanti, Mazzieri, became now addetti di anticamera,
okay.
or gentlemen, or other charge, but all included in the pontifical family. This is a nomination who made the Secretary of State and the Pope in first. And then to receive this nomination, you must be obvious, a important history of family, but it's not sufficient. You must be involved in person, and they check your person. And having, and I had, I was young, 27. I think one of the most young in that situation. But I was also 10 years in service in other organization, voluntary, ceremonial of other organization like Circolo San Pietro, and they decided with benevolence to involve me. But
that's great.
No, thank you. But from the moment of the nomination, the life changed completely, because it's another way to be testimonial of the unique and first thing that a Catholic want to believe, the faith of Christian religion. And to be is not an honor, but is, we say in Italian, onere. Honor and
Onere.
onere is different.
Yes.
Is an important place or situation in which to be testimonial, to be a person who can not give an example, but confirm that we are here for the Catholic Church, not for my not important person. Is a dress who delete your person.
Yes.
It's
I get you.
not a way to be someone or something of important. no. It's a service. The
You're
word is
at the service of the Pope.
service of the Pope and the Holy Church.
Have you ever thought maybe of writing an autobiography at the service of the Pope?
Yes, the Pope. The first title of the Pope is Servus Servorum Dei, and we are the servus of the servus of Servorum Dei.
That's wonderful. During your career at the Vatican, you have met so many popes, and we were talking about Giovanni Paolo II and also Pope Francesco, that is now. Who was the pope that actually impressed you most as personality and that you really, really admire?
Well, it's impossible to say in this way, because I am not a young boy, but is a joke. But I was born reigning, felicite regnante, the Pope Pio XII. I was born in 1958.
Okay.
But every pope is the right pope for that period. It's impossible to insert a great pope like John the 23 in a moment like this. Papa Francesco is our pope. It is a perfect pope for this moment.
For this moment, exactly.
We believe. I suggest to you the reality that we are believer, and we believe that every pope is the expression of the Holy Spirit, and then the Holy Spirit knows what he is doing.
Yes, no, I totally agree on that.
Personally, I am very grateful to John Paul II because he was the Pope during the reign which I was inserted in the pontifical family, Pontificalis Domus. But it's only a question of date. All the Pope is the Pope of the Lord.
But you actually started out not as an artist, but as a singer, and you were singing in the chorus of the Vatican, and that is really, really exciting. So how do you combine all these expressions of art, music, art? How does that combine totally in your art?
The point of view of this is very different. It's impossible to be without. For an artist in this situation, we will go after this conversation to visit a particular museum of the science of machine of Leonardo. In this place, in this city, it's impossible to be only painter. But to be painter is very important.
In Rome, you mean?
In Rome and in Italy in general.
In general, in Italy, yes.
It's impossible to be a painter without being curious. And
That's true, absolutely.
the curiosity is something who give food, energy to all the production. And this is an anticipation by me about the something we can say about Leonardo, for example. We are speaking about monster of culture, but not to be in Paragon. But an artist of the Renaissance in Italy is an artist involved in a contest bigger. And, for example, Leonardo was born like painter.
Yes, true.
But to be a perfect painter became a scientist who studied the eye to understand why the light is in that or in other way, and was the inventor of the system that today the scientists use to analyze the globe.
Yes, he was one of the best scientists ever, true.
Like scientist, like painter. And the curiosity for the sculptor, the curiosity for the architecture was in first like painter. This is the way. And when I studied in Accademia di Via Ripetta at Rome, I have the lucky to be with big Maestro of Scuola Romana, Ziveri, Avenali, and people, like, for example, Ziveri, painted with Picasso, Baudelaire. And
Wow, that's
these
amazing.
people, I met in person. I was a child. I met the Chirico. I met the brother of the Chirico. A lot of this. I am not so young. But the important.
But you are young. A man is always young.
Thank you. But I remember me. I remember me, and to people who can hear this, that an artist like an Italian artist in Roma is necessarily involved also in other things. You asked me about music. Yes.
Yes.
I, in 1979, because I study also conservatory music, singing, piano, to be curious. But my voice consented me and my preparation in music to be involved in the Cappella Giulia of St. Peter in Vatican, 1979. I was officially a singer in 1980, and now I am the doyen, decano. It means the old. And I was also maestro sostituto. Maestro, we say sostituzione when the maestro.
Substitute from a substitute.
Maestro conducting the choir during the mass and the vespers or the mattutini or the lodi with the Vatican Capitolo. This is an experience, but in that experience you can take the beauty every time.
Naturally, since the service that I offer in the Vatican to the ceremonial is totally free, my work is totally in the arts, in music and in painting in particular. And therefore, I have expanded my experience also to the opera house world, working almost 40 years at the Opera House in Roma, the famous Roma Opera House, organic as singer, tenor, where I was lucky, to meet and work with the greatest opera stars from all over the world. I was thus able to accumulate experience not only as singer, as well as being a director, regist, we say, and costume designer, scene designer, which is the subject of the thesis with which I graduate myself from the State Academy of Fine Arts in Roma, in Via Ripetta.
And I was speaking about academy because in the Academy of Beauty of Fine Arts, you can study the first matter. That is an unknown matter for the people who arrive, also painter, is in Italian, Teoria della percezione e psicologia della forma. The translation, I think, is easy. A theory of perception and
Perception,
psychology of the forms.
Psychology of the forms, yeah.
But this is the way in which you person, you artist, understand the nature, understand all around. And the first nature is painter or sculptor or musician. But you can be a musician also being a painter.
Absolutely, yeah, I totally agree in that. Yeah.
And I am fascinated by a lot of this. You remember Charlie Chaplin?
Yes.
Or you remember Fellini. Fellini was what he was, but very, very important to have a painting of Fellini or a music composed by Chaplin.
Yes.
The first point of view is the perception, and the psychology of the form is the opera, the painting, or what you want.
What is actually your favorite painting? For example, your favorite painting in the Vatican?
In Vatican, present in Vatican.
Yes, present in the Vatican at the moment.
But I cannot to speak about the judge of the Sistine Chapel because, but near is present all the painting of old Michelangelo, no? The following of St. Paul, and in the Cappella Paolina. But the fascination of Michelangelo is that is another. You are, I said you are cultural conductor because you made this.
Thank you. You're too kind.
You made this connection not casually because Michelangelo is not a painter; he's a sculptor.
It's a sculpture, yes.
But you know that the technique of the fresh is the picture, the painting technique more close to the sculptor because you make a painting act.
Yes, a painting act, yes.
And remain for the history. You cannot change. And this is really a sculptural act. For example, it's very rare, impossible to discover an oil on canvas of Michelangelo. Au contraire, en français, you cannot discover a fresh of Caravaggio.
Yes, true,
Because
it's
Caravaggio is a
impossible.
really painter.
Yes, Caravaggio was a real painter, yes.
To have a fresh of Caravaggio because Caravaggio change. We say in painting pentimento.
Pentimento.
The spirit of the painter, the real painter, is to change. The spirit of the real sculptor is to I want to use dialect. Dialect word phrase of the Roman scuola. Botta e tacchia.
Botta e tacchia.
You
to know.
You just a movement of sculpture, and the stone is lost forever. This is botta e tacchia.
Botta e tacchia.
First, very very interesting slang of the Roman marmorist.
Ah, okay, okay.
And we can close this going after to visit Leonardo. That
Yes.
Leonardo was a genius of painting, but the fresh of Leonardo are a disaster, technically technically speaking, because
Amazing.
he decided to convert the technique of oil painting to the fresh. Like an inventor, but was not able to this. And many years after painting the Cenacolo, the priest who ordered this called Michelangelo to restore because all the painting was destroyed.
They were, destroyed. Wow.
Yes, because was not marmorized inside the board for the wrong technical. And this is the example of a painter who want to be sculptor. The consequence is that the sculpture of Leonardo are in bronze. You know, the bronze is plastic. You can change, and then with the bronze.
Who is actually your favorite painter ever? Who do you see yourself as being inspired mostly in your art?
I remember that the fascination of the boy who took the material, the colors for the first time. I began when I was child, but the first painting, was in an exhibition here in Palazzo delle Esposizioni a Via Nazionale when I was 14. Well, in that period, I was very, very in love for Caravaggio. And
Caravaggio.
the first love is unforgettable.
Impossible to forget, exactly.
But like the Pope, like the President, each one painter is a genius. You cannot forget the other for sympathy. Caravaggio, but all the painting in that moment, like the son or the daughter for a father. We are son and daughter, but we have a lot of father.
True, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes.
But I know that actually one of your paintings was donated by Pope Francesco. I think the icon of San Francesco d'Assisi was donated in Ireland to the Order of Francescani, right? Of the Franciscan Order. Tell us about. I mean, that must have been a huge honor.
A surprise. I have a lot of friends in United States, in Latin America, and you know that the timing the fuse of hours is very different. But a close friend of mine from America Latina called me at a very unbelievable time during the night, but I usually paint during the night.
You paint during the night?
And it was not a problem. Said me, Giuseppe, Chitado, tu stai sulla... advertised me that an article of an important journal report that the Pope Francisco make an important gift. It was important because
during his trip to Ireland, he made this gift.
the Pope Francisco, Papa Francesco, inspired to choose the name to San Francesco. Received by me officially the icon of San Francesco d'Assisi, and all the gift to the Pope are gift of the Pope.
Yes, of course. Yes.
And he decided to deliver this icon to the Franciscan order in Ireland during his official visit.
That's really inspiring.
It's very important because a pope called Francesco delivered my modest painting to the order or Franciscan. The painting is only Saint Francesco d'Assisi. For me was not a surprise, more. And,
absolutely, yes.
And now this painting that before was in the palace of the Pope, because he received it, now is a gift of the Pope. And I'm very happy for this, because it's not common to receive an honor like this.
But also many of your works of art are actually exhibited like in embassies and I think at the Spanish embassy, right?
Yes,
At the Vatican.
Was another difficult adventure, because I have a memory of a lot of friends, not more present now, but historically I was honored to be a friend of one of the most important Spanish ambassadors to the Holy See. This ambassador, I want Carlos Abella y Ramallo, is very important ambassador for the Spain, for me like friend, asked me to produce two paintings, because the king was Juan Carlos I, visiting. He was born in Roma, you remember?
Oh, he was born in Rome.
And the embassy of Spain is the most ancient embassy in the world, the first.
Yes.
Also,
the one that is in Piazza di Spagna, right?
Spagna, Piazza Mignanelli.
Piazza
the
Mignanelli,
column,
yeah.
yes. The notice is that another of the invention of Holy Church, because the diplomacy was invented by Holy See, and the embassy of Spain is the most ancient. We are speaking of about the origin of.
Yes.
Well,
I think even the square itself was called because of the Spanish embassy.
Divided with the French, because it's an old question in Roma: Spanish, French, the north, the south. Yeah, but this is another history.
Yes, in Rome there's so much history.
Very interesting. But now the Pope of that period decided downstairs the Spanish, upstairs the French, and in this embassy the Rey Juan Carlos I, the first, noted that the Pope, the Spanish Pope, was not present in portrait. This is another historical question, because one is half Spanish, half Romanus, Papa Borgia.
Papa Borgia.
But the other two, Callisto III, no? E San Damaso I, San Damaso I, and Callisto III, was not represented. And he asked me, can you try to paint in the style of the embassy two portraits of the popes, because His Majesty needs to see next time all the Spanish Pope inside. I try, my friend, I try. And someone said that the training was positive, because now the portraits are officially in charge of the Spanish Cultural Institute. In Roma, it's called La Obra Pia. Officially
Opera Pia.
inserted in the catalog, and you visit and can see inside the embassy my modest painting. But was an my
That's
friend,
really exciting, because such an important embassy.
the ambassador Carlos presented me a big check with a lot of money. I said, no, it's impossible for me, because in first, I am friend of Spain. In second, I am in charge. In this moment, I cannot accept. But
So you did not accept the fee?
I cannot, but,
Wow.
But the king delivered me a very big honor of Spain,
Yes.
the commander of the Isabella la Cattolica. And this was in another unexpected
It's
situation.
a medal, you mean?
Yes,
A
yes.
medal.
But it's in Spain, in which the monarchy is present, is really an honor.
Oh, yes, absolutely, I can
And
imagine.
then some others, because an artist, for an artist, it's important to live by his own art, but not but understand that in some situation your role is not commercial role, but
Of course.
it's a role of part of the total part of the total.
You have actually many medals, orders, and how many medals do you have, and how many are you going to have? Because I can see more coming.
A lot, because but you can divide this in different situation. When a sovereign state want to testify you the grateful for a cultural action, is important for me, is one of the most important things. And this was this happened 13 or 12 times. I don't remember. I received from sovereign states Knight, Commander, Great Cross, because each one country in that moment for me is the most important.
Oh, Red Cross too.
Red Cross too, because for other things I am involved in other situations. I want not to speak about my honors, because it's something of probably not so important, but the Red Cross is important.
Oh, the Red Cross, yes, it is important. But also because I've seen from the photos that you have so many, and I was like, you can't even count them.
Yes, because this means that I am old.
No.
A lot of things happened because the time is running. But the Red Cross, I am gold medal of merit, benemerenza of gold, other, but organized for Red Cross, important events. I participate, and they was very nice with me. But I am very happy to be able every time to organize this, because the success of an organization like Red Cross or like all the organization policy, Caritas, Sant'Egidio, the success of this organization is the real success.
Of course, yes. I totally agree with that. And so, what are your next plans as an artist? What do you plan to do? Your next step?
Well, probably what I was saying at the beginning of this conversation, to arrive in New York with the movement of Metaphorismo, with my abstract painting, because is the future is important. Someone said that the people who speaks about the past is like dead. But I hope to speak about the future, and then the movement and probably the visit to be guest in a situation like the MoMA is my future most shining hope. But also to paint in portraits because this is my life, this is my job, and it's important understand that all the painters in Roma, bigger than me, obvious, but they lived painting portraits for people, and not only.
Oh, that's very interesting. Have you ever thought of doing another exhibition in Rome?
In Rome, I don't know. The next is probably in Croatia
In
with
Croatia.
with the movement. We 3 days ago we was invited by the government. The movement, we was invited in Rijeka for the Year of the Culture in the official pavilion of the and something is moving about Czech Republic because the abstract painting, this is the mind of the Professoressa Giulia Sillato, began in first with Kupka, and the Kupka was about Praga. No? The origin of the abstract modern painting is probably in that zone, and we will be invited probably by the government of Repubblica Ceca in the pavilion of Biennale di Venezia, presenting the movement. But all the problems of emergency of coronavirus
Yes.
related all this situation, and you certainly know that the Biennale is in the 21.
Yes. They postponed it to 2021
We are speaking about the
exactly.
future.
Well, by now the future is always interesting.
Interesting. We are in the hand of the Lord.
Exactly, we're in the hands of the Lord. But working inside the Vatican, do you feel like closer to God?
Surely, but Vatican is an expression of the Holy Church, like the wonderful architecture of the Church of Rome. And the wonderful church in the world, because traveling, I visited also Orthodox Church, wonderful in St. Petersburg, in Moscow, in all we are so close. In person, I am very close to the Orthodox Church because it's important to the dialogue and the friendship. In Roma, we have the presence of delegation of the Archdiocese Ortodossa di Sua Santità, His Holiness, the Patriarch of Constantinople. No? I'm involved also in the ceremonial of the Orthodox Church in Roma. Because they asked my modest experience to collaborate during the visit of Bartolomeo, for example, 2 or 3 times. And this is another way for the dialogue. No?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
But you asked me another thing, and when I am in Vatican, when I sing in Vatican, singing downstairs the couple of Michelangelo, the music wrote by Palestrina, you are in the middle of the history.
Yes.
You believe me, you can believe me that you are, someone asked me to conduct the choir, also in substitution, but conduct the choir with the cardinal celebrating, with the capital, is a very responsibility because normally we mistake, but to mistake in that seat is a double mistake.
Yes, no, I can imagine, yes.
But it also is a double satisfaction, yes. But not because it's Vatican, because it's the place when all happened. And all the musicians who are hearing knows that one famous motet of Palestrina, Sicut Cervus, all the people knows, but was wrote for the distance from the sacristy to the altar, and was wrote for that basilica, for example, to sing this in that, not for in concert or for during exhibition. Normal. This is a responsibility because in that moment you are the modest ring of a connection, and you cannot destroy
the connection.
the connection. Probably no one remembered me, but remember me if I mistake.
Yes, true, absolutely, yes. But does religion play one of the most important roles in your life?
The first and the last, because it obviously is important, but it's not something of outside of the blood. It's like the blood in the body.
Yes.
If you keep out or the lymph in a tree, is probably is not so visible, because we are involved in the life, confused, running, but we have blood. The blood is the religion.
Yes. Yes.
Is not only the beginning or the target. It's something we nourish all the action and all the mistakes, because we must be conscient. Like St. Peter, no? St. Peter was the first pope, the first saint, but the first public person who admitted the mistake. And we must be able to ask perdono, we say, no?
Yes.
Apologize me, please, Lord.
To ask, apology to the
Yes.
to the God.
Yes, yes. Well, another example of this is during the official visit in Vatican. The first, when a guest arrives, Catholic guests, we say accolito, visit the basilica, the first place is not artistic, is the chapel of the Holy Eucharist. Because the owner of all this is Jesus Christ in person. And we are believers that when we arrive at the home, at home of someone, you cannot go to see the landscape on the terrace.
Yeah.
Beautiful, I am sure. But the first thing, you go to congratulate and to greeting all the palace, the first. And then you go visit. And the good people to the owner and to the mother. And then the second step is the Madonna del Perpetuo Soccorso. Quindi the father and the mother. And then the first guest in St. Peter is St. Pietro.
Yes.
St. Peter, and the third step of a president, of a king, of an ambassador, is to visit the father, the mother, and the bone of St. Peter. And then someone can show the beauty of the couple, but it's after. The first thing is the chapel of the Holy Sacrament.
How many ceremonies inside the Vatican did you actually participate in?
I don't know. You
So
can.
You never counted them, right?
No, the counter you can calculate from 1986 to now. All the Sunday, all the Christmas, all the Easter, all the visit of all the ambassadors who arrived in Vatican in that period. Not all, because we rotate, but a lot of this. All the presidents, all the kings, all the queens, all the head of government rotating, but is a number very, very high.
Yes, I can imagine. And social activity is vital for you, I mean, because you're a person of the people and you like to socialize.
Yes, it's important in Roma because we in Roma have a lot of embassy.
Yes.
It's very unusual for a capital to have 3 or 4 lines of embassy, because we have the embassy behind the Holy See, the embassy, obviously, behind the Italian government, we see behind the Quirinale. We have the embassy behind the Sovereign Order of Malta. Also, I am also Knight of Order of
Yes,
Malta.
you're the Knight of the
But
Order
I
of
am
Malta.
saying
Wow.
this because my experience was also 5 or 6 years with Principe Paolo Boncompagni Ludovisi in service at the Palazzo Magistrale ceremonial, like in Holy See, but it was a short period. But we have the third line. We have another line with the Office of the United Nations, FAO.
FAO.
Another line of
FAO.
ambassador. We have a lot of life in Italy, of invitation, in which you can go only to testificate the presence of our activity, not to promote yourself, but in representation of
For the dialogue, absolutely. For the dialogue, for socializing.
yes, for the dialogue, and for the hope that all the friends of the world of different religion, or also without religion, but people who need the same target, the peace, the respect for human rights, we say in Italian, in Latin, like in Order of Malta we say, tuitio fidei et auxilium pauperum.
Latin.
To defend the faithful, to help the poor. It's very not
That is
politically
very important.
correct, because I am poor. Please, someone help me.
Yes, yes.
But we say to help the people who need. Because
Of course,
the
that's
world
one of
is
the most
full
important
this.
things.
And then the activity is voluntary. I am not here trying to speak about, you will be not able to convince me to speak about my activity in volontariato generally, but it's important.
It is very important, of
We
course.
say the right hand does not know what the left knows.
Yes, yes.
But we must be involved.
Giuseppe, thank you so much for this wonderful talk. And we will go now to the Museum of Leonardo da Vinci to see the amazing machines that were done by Leonardo. And I hope we have another talk soon, maybe in some other wonderful, amazing location, like like you always do.
See this particular museum, guest in this palace with the machine and the science of Leonardo da Vinci is very special, and we will show you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me in this wonderful location,
You are welcome.
Palazzo di Cancelleria.
You're welcome.
We are inside the rooms of the Leonardo da Vinci exhibition, and we're here again with Maestro Giuseppe Tedeschi to talk a little bit about Leonardo. And this amazing exhibition is in the Palazzo Cancelleria, and here there are 65 pieces of different machines that were actually invented by Leonardo da Vinci. So, Giuseppe, can you tell us something about this exhibition that we just visited?
Wow, this is an example of the giants of the history of the culture, and Leonardo is one of these. We are inside, and we thanks a lot the director of the museum,
Yes. Thank you so much to Augusto Biaggi, the director of the museum, that actually made the interview here.
Very kind guest of this moment. And then the exhibition speaks them itself. Is the total of the genius, one of the Italian genius. We hope to follow like a little insect. These big giants. This is a very, very interesting message also to the followers of the kind magazine Cultural Focus, because the message is to follow the culture in first, because all what is important in a nation, in the world, is the culture.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
And I think the magazine like Cultural Focus is in the heart of this, because it speaks about the culture. I am very grateful to be one of the person, and I'm grateful for the attention for this little person. But my job in culture and in art is an example of Italian message. To be curious, to be not only painter, but painter in music, in the world in which you live, not romantic and separate artists from the reality, close in a cold house, but inserted in the society, romantic in the heart, but with energy inserted in the cultural context, and this is the job of the nice invitation for this interview, and I'm very happy of this.
Thank you so much to Giuseppe TEDESCHI, to Augusto Biaggi, the director of the museum, and to this wonderful...
The word of the other guest of this, Monsignor Jean-Marie Gervais. I collaborated also with Tota Pulcra. Tota Pulcra is an important association of culture, connected with the heart of the Roman culture. And Monsignor Jean-Marie Gervais is the president of this important association of culture, involved also Monsignore, like member of the different institutions of the Vatican, also in the capital, he is involved like the prefetto, I say in Italian it's better, prefetto dei coadiutori del capitolo di San Pietro and other charge. And this is the end of a very nice meeting. I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you everybody for being us today. I hope you enjoyed our amazing talk with Maestro Giuseppe TEDESCHI.